And then your second one was Kansas competing for the college football playoff, which I
Right,
love, but I want you to take this away.
right. Jalon Daniels. I mean, we would probably be having this conversation last year if Jalon Daniels would have stayed darn healthy. And he's going to be must see TV. He is an electric quarterback. He is, in my opinion, this might be a bold take as well, that he will be in Heisman conversations once the season's over if he stays healthy. That's the big thing with Jalon Daniels. Really, the dude has to stay healthy, man. He is just an awesome player. He could be a first round pick, but he's got to stay healthy. And they have really, really good players on this roster other than Jalon Daniels. Guys like the senior running back Devin Neal, corner Kobe Bryant. Those guys are also going to be higher draft picks as well. And then, lastly, if you look at their schedule, it's not too much of anything really. I know I keep going back to schedules, but that's so important in my
Yes.
opinion. They play Lindenwood at Illinois, home against UNLV, at West Virginia. That can be a trap game right there. But they have TCU at home, away at Arizona State, home versus Houston, away at Kansas State. That'll be a big one there. Then home against Iowa State, away at BYU, home at Colorado, away at Baylor. And if you, I mean, it's not too bad for a team like Kansas who we have expectations for. And I do expect them to be placed in between 20 and 25 when the first polls come out. I think Joel Klatt had them at 23 if I was not mistaken, something like that.
Yeah.
Um but they could crack the top 15 really easily if they are ranked 22nd, 23rd. I mean, first part of their schedule really isn't that bad. The second part of the schedule heats up with conference play, but it's not bad either. But again, this prediction will go down in the dumpster if Jalon Daniels gets hurt week 2
Yes.
or week 3.
Yeah.
Jalon Daniels has to stay healthy.
I absolutely agree with that. They lost a lot on defense and they also lost their star offensive coordinator, but they return a ton offensively, especially at skill position, and they've used the portal nicely. They've gotten some blue chip players. I know for a fact from the Big Ten, Michigan's younger offensive lineman Amir Herring, and then by Job, Michigan State's highest ranked recruit, I think in the 2023 class. They got
Okay. Yeah.
them in the portal. Like just as a side note, in the fact that they're using the portal and they're building up their talent, not just in recruiting where they've also gotten some 4 stars, but the portal. Lawrence Arnold, Luke Grimm, they had a few hundred receiving yards. I think Lawrence Arnold was close to 1,000 yards last year. Devin Neal and Daniel Highshaw Jr. That's one of the better running back rooms in the country. And Daniels, when healthy, is one of the best quarterbacks, could be the best quarterback in the entire country. And also Kobe Bryant, who's good at corners. So they even have a good defensive player. All that to say, them competing for the college football playoff, many would look at that and think, oh, that's a 5. Like, that's outrageous. But if they just reach the Big 12 championship game and win,
Exactly.
they probably get the auto bid unless the Big 12 is super weak and you have a 4 or 3 loss champion and a group of 5 team with a tough schedule that does well. They, looking at the schedule that you provided, their toughest game will be at Kansas State,
I
maybe
agree.
hosting Iowa State, and maybe if you want to go out a limb and you can say that West Virginia will be one of the best teams in the Big 12, you could say that. But they avoid Oklahoma State, who was in the Big 12 championship game last year, and they avoid Utah, who's essentially the unanimous pick by most analysts to win the conference or at least be the best team in terms of power rankings. Very favorable schedule. I would go out on a limb and say this team could, if everything goes right for them, go 13-0 with that schedule. And they could
I
win
mean,
close games. They could win some
yeah.
dominant performances with that offense where they just overwhelm people. But that would be like their ceiling, of course. And they're probably not winning a playoff game. But to even get to that conversation would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And I mean, I think West Virginia will be a trap game, especially since it is in Morgantown. I think that they will be, they being West Virginia, will be very good. But I mean, you look at the schedule. That's a game that I'm worried about. At Kansas State, I'm not worried about really. Like you said, Iowa State, but they have that game at home. I'm not concerned about the rest of the schedule for them at all. And if especially if they start the year ranked, even if they don't win the Big 12, they could sneak in there as a last minute seed, especially if they start ranked and they don't, and things go their way. Maybe they have a 10-2 season and I don't know, somehow don't make the Big 12 championship, which now that I say it, I don't think would happen. I think a 10-2 Big 12 team would make it. Be that as it may, if they had 10 wins and they made it to the they would probably be a 12, 13, 11 seed, in my opinion, depending on how the dice roll. But I think, there's more than one way to get in the college football playoff now, and I think Kansas has a couple avenues here.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, and the Big 12 is one of those conferences where, because they're so deep, things could go a variety of ways. They could have like multiple teams finish the year 11-1 with only one loss in conference. They could have like 3 of those teams, or they could have like the top 3 teams finish with 2 losses or 3 losses. Like you don't know what the Big 12 will be. There's no obvious hierarchy like there is in every other conference, where the SEC, Big Ten, and ACC, just sheerly by talent, you can separate out 3 or 4 teams from the rest of the pack. You can't do that in the Big 12 outside of maybe Utah, but even then they don't have the top 25
Yeah.
talent roster.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, even then with Utah, and I love Utah this season, and I think they will end up winning that auto bid because, but it's definitely a possibility that they go out there and lose 3, 4 games. I mean, you can't count anything out with this Big 12 because it's not like they have, like you said, they don't have that upper echelon of teams. They don't have the Ohio State. They don't even have like a Penn State level team.
no,
I think Penn State would easily win out there. But they have everyone on. They have like 6 teams that are like a B plus level team, and then everyone past that, like Colorado's going to go crazy on some team. Like you can't count out the rest of the Big 12. Baylor's going to upset a couple people. Um, TCU's going to win a couple games. So when you take into that account that, I mean, the Big 12 is pretty crazy.
Dana Holgerson, like peak peak ba- peak brain rot, not utilizing your talent properly. Dana Holgerson nearly beat Texas, and there's no Texas in the Big 12. Like
Yeah, no,
that.
no Texas and no Oklahoma. That's
Exactly.
a big thing right there.
I would list this as just because competing for a playoff, I only envision really the auto bids from the ACC or the Big 12 having a guarantee of getting in. I don't think there's a guarantee that more than one team from a non-SEC or Big 10 conference is getting in. So I'd put this at probably a 3.5 or 4. The top 15 part, I would put it like a 2 or maybe even close to a 1 because I think they're winning double-digit games too, or at least 9. So at some point they'd be flirting with that. But it's not outrageous at all, and I could see it their ceiling. This Kansas team winning the Big 12 and potentially being undefeated or maybe just a play away from it. Thank you so much for watching this episode of College Football with Sam. I appreciate it. And I would appreciate it even more if you were to hit that like button, comment your thoughts on this video down below, hit that big red subscribe button, and also click that notification bell so that your phone, laptop, or whatever device you use can ding or buzz whenever I release new content and notify you about it so that you can watch more videos like this. College Football with Sam is the best Big Ten football channel on YouTube. We're going to be doing a giveaway when we hit 20,000 subscribers, and we're trying to become one of the best, if not the best, college football channels on YouTube. Your support means so much, and to those of you who are subscribed to my Patreon or purchase merchandise from my store, the links to those are down in the description and pinned comment. Thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to my Patreons. Thanks to Crash2488 for being a Heisman member. Thanks to Spencer Bringhurst, Chris Lane, and Connor Little OH for being All-American members. And thanks to Will Loftus, John Lynn, Roaming Gnome, Matthew Sale, Austin Christmas, and Janisha Cockrell for being All-Conference members. Have a great day, guys. And if you're listening on Spotify or any non-YouTube podcast platform, please check the link in the channel description to find my YouTube channel. And if you're listening on YouTube, feel free to check out my Spotify, if you so please. Have a great day, guys, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.